Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Karim Shafiq. I will give an introduction about an amplitude modulator. Okay, an amplitude modulated signal is composed of both low frequency and high frequency components. The low frequency, which is modulating signal, controls the amplitude of the high frequency, which is carrier signal. The low frequency signal generates the signal's envelope. The envelope of the modulated radio frequency RF signal would be sinusoidal if the modulating signal is sinusoidal. In a typical AM radio, this would be the case. The low frequency signal would be an audio signal, while the high frequency signal would be the AM radio station's transmitting frequency. The product of the carrier and the modulating signal must be generated by the circuit that produces of an AM modulated waveform. This can be accomplished in a number of ways, but the most common method is to bias a transistor for non-linear operation, creating the product term, and then filter the output with a tank circuit to eliminate the higher harmonics created. Thus, the voltage produced at the output will be sinusoid of the carrier frequency. When the modulating signal is added via the coupling capacitor, the emitter voltage of the transistor will follow the modulating signal, causing the cut-off voltage of the transistor and also the collector current pulse amplitude to vary with the modulating signal. The low frequency signal can be recovered after receiving an AM signal. The envelope detector is one of the most basic forms of AM demodulating circuit. The envelope detector must satisfy a significant condition in order to correctly recover the low frequency signal. The time constant of the envelope detector must be much longer than the duration of the high frequency signal, but much shorter than the period of the low frequency signal. Once the signal is demodulated, the high frequency signal is eliminated and what remains is the low frequency component. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and very good morning. My name is Muhammad Shakir Fahmi bin Muhammad Shah with matrix number CE190206. Today I'm going to explain you about our objective of our project. So first and foremost is to develop an amplitude modulation and demodulation system in an application called as MATLAB simulation software. Secondly, to gain understanding of the waveform produced from the modulated and demodulated signals. Third, observing the effects and changes of the percentage of the modulation. And last but not least, to analyze the upper and lower side of frequencies of amplitude modulation. So for our scope of our project, so we are required to simulate the amplitude modulation and the modulation signal using MATLAB simulator. In order to simulate this system, we need to use graphic users interface GUI in MATLAB as a final product. In GUI, we must include the input parameters and outcome so we can observe the value between modulation and demodulation system. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you, and I will pass to my friend.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Fizuri Biskandar and I'm from Group 4 about the amplitude modulation and the demodulation. I'm here to talk about the purpose project. Our project is the aim of our project is to demonstrate the amplitude modulation and the demodulation system that we provide and produce different signal waveform when running the program. In this case, we must create the system of the modulation and the demodulation by using MATLAB simulator, which is the simulator in the MATLAB, which is allow us to observe its characteristic features and differences between the modulation signal and the demodulated signal. And we are required to use GUI in the MATLAB after we finish our task in producing the signal either using code or creating blocks in the simulator. We assume that with the aid of the simulator, we are able to achieve our objective that we set for our findings in this project. Okay, that's all for me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Saya Muhammad Ali Gizat bin Azlan. Dan sini saya akan menerangkan mengenai expected outcome kami, iaitu our expected outcome is to develop an educational simulator about the amplitude modulation and demodulation successfully by using the graphic user interface in MATLAB. Jadi di sini kami ingin menggunakan GUI di MATLAB untuk membuat satu simulation mengenai amplitude modulation dan demodulation. By doing this project, we will be able to gain more understanding about the waveform produced by the modulated and demodulated signal. Maksudnya kami menggunakan GUI di MATLAB ini untuk lebih memahami bagaimana waveform telah diwujudkan dengan menggunakan amplitude modulation dan demodulation. This will also help us to observe and analyze the changes that happen from the signals by using the amplitude modulation and demodulation. Dan kami akan lebih dapat melihat waveform tersebut selepas kita menggunakan amplitude modulation dan demodulation. Baiklah, itu daripada saya. Terima kasih.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Syahrul Nizam Muhammad. My metric number is CE190144. Okay, today I would like to talk about our conclusion for our project, our topic. Okay, our topic is the amplitude modulation and demodulation. Okay, for our conclusion, the basic theory of amplitude modulation is taught in this experiment by procedure. The modulator receives carrier and audio information signal input, and the effect of changing several parameters such as signal amplitude and frequency on the emitter AM signal waveform is observed, and the percent of modulation is determined from there. Applying input to the modulator and observing the output provide expertise in the design aspect, which include the measuring and modifying the modulator circuit. The all process need own technique and that can be used to demodulate AM signal. Okay, they all about our conclusion for our topic for the amplitude liberation and demodulation. Alright, thank you.